We're starting off with WWE, and at Elimination Chamber, John Cena shocked the wrestling world by turning heel after decades as a top face, setting the stage for a highly anticipated match with Cody Rhodes next month. On Raw, Cena made his way to the ring, greeted by a storm of deafening boos and relentless "You Sold Out" chants from the electric crowd in Brussels, Belgium. The crowd were later divided between "Let's Go Cena" and "Cena sucks" chants, and before he could even speak, the audience had already made their feelings known on the former hero. When Cena finally addressed them, he didn't hold back, unleashing years of pent-up frustration on the WWE Universe, who he branded as awful. Cena accused them of bullying him into being a puppet and blamed them for ruining his retirement tour, and went as far as to compare their relationship to an abusive one. Cena declared he was neither a babyface nor a heel, but simply a human being who had spent years trying to win them over, only to realize they never truly accepted him. The WWE icon coldly declared that "Your time is up, my time is finally now," before going on to claim that to the fans, he's never been anything more than a toy. He also took aim at the Invisible Cena joke he no longer found funny, and announced that he was severing ties with everyone whether they supported him or not. Taking aim at his WrestleMania 41 opponent, he called Cody Rhodes the fans' brand new shiny toy, and this was the moment Rhodes' music finally hit. The American Nightmare wasted no time firing back as he reminded Cena that for 25 years, fans had given them their best because he was special and because they believed in him. John scoffed at the notion, but when he referred to Cody as "kid," Rhodes screamed "enough" and said he was not a kid, but that he is the WWE champion. Rhodes made it clear that he wanted to face the old John Cena, not this whiny he was sharing the ring with, before dropping the mic and storming out of the ring. Cena was left standing in silence before the crowd erupted once more, serenading the 16-time world champion with the "Na Na Na Na" song before he left without another word. Cena's first Raw appearance since his shocking turn took place in the Forest National in Brussels, and the crowd certainly added to the highly anticipated angle. Fightful Select reports that WWE were ecstatic with the reception John Cena got, confirming that his transformation into a villain was exactly what they'd hoped for. With WrestleMania on the horizon, the road ahead promises to be explosive, and this unforgettable 30-minute segment kicked off Raw in a massive way. The action continued in Brussels after Raw went off the air as Cody Rhodes stepped back into the ring for a post-show dark match against a familiar opponent, Dominik Mysterio. Cody secured another victory over Dom, marking his 18th consecutive win against the Judgment Day's resident troublemaker. Following the match, Rhodes addressed the possibility of Belgium hosting a premium live event in the future, saying that "it's all on you to make it happen." This wasn't a good night for Dirty Dom, who pitched bringing Penta into the Judgment Day, but Finn Balor immediately shot down the idea. Do you think Cody Rhodes should move on from Dominik, or is there more to this rivalry? Let us know in the comments. Ever since his exit from WWE in early 2024, Vince McMahon appearances have become a rare thing, but this week the billionaire was spotted. McMahon attended the New York Knicks vs. Miami Heat game at Madison Square Garden, with the broadcast calling McMahon a former wrestling promoter during the show. Given that this was St. Patrick's Day, McMahon was decked head to toe in green as he remains quite the snappy dresser, even with his days of power walking to the ring being over. Dominik Mysterio and Finn Balor spoke backstage as the Irish superstar once again rejected the notion of adding anyone, especially Dom's idea of Penta, someone seeking the Intercontinental title. Balor didn't just reject the idea, but was immediately angry at Dominik, who prior to this was seen speaking to Karrion Kross backstage as Dakota Kai made her way out for her match. There's no word yet on what the pair discussed, but this isn't the first time fans have seen Dominik speaking to the former Final Testament leader. The main event of Raw saw Finn Balor challenge Bronn Breakker for the Intercontinental Championship, and Michael Cole noted that Balor hasn't held singles gold in nearly 3 years. This made the match a crucial opportunity for Balor, who entered the match without backup from the Judgment Day, eliminating his usual numbers advantage. The champion started off strong, using his speed and power to control the action early on, but Balor turned the tide with a sling blade at ringside before the break. Back in the ring, Breakker regained control, but Carlito and Dominik Mysterio ran down to interfere, leading to Balor nearly securing the win and the title with a roll-up off the distraction. The two competitors continued their back-and-forth battle until Breakker attempted a Frankensteiner, but Carlito, distracting the ref, allowed for Dom to get in Breakker's face. The interference backfired as it resulted in Balor losing his balance, and Breakker took out Judgment Day, then successfully hit the Frankensteiner on Balor for the victory. After the match, Mysterio tried to redeem himself by attacking Breakker, but Penta, who had earlier expressed interest in the Intercontinental title, rushed to the ring to make the save. The Masked Star took out Mysterio and Carlito, while Breakker speared Carlito before Penta grabbed the gold and stared down Breakker to close the show. This was easily the best performance of the night, making Breakker look like he belonged in the ring with a veteran like Balor and teasing big things in the future. But why did Balor fail to become a 3-time Intercontinental Champion during Raw? Well, this loss could be a sign that his time with the Judgment Day is coming to an end. For months, fans have seen Balor argue with the other members of the faction, and even before the title match, Dom and Finn had a heated conversation in a backstage segment. That segment ended up with Finn calling Mysterio a snake, and Balor's loss, thanks in part to Dominik, could be the biggest sign yet that he's leaving the group. This could have even set up a direct feud between Balor and the rest of the Judgment Day should he become the latest group member to be ousted. It'll certainly be interesting to see what Balor makes of Dom costing him an important title match, a match that could have guaranteed Finn a spot on the WrestleMania card. Balor's loss may also boil down to WWE simply not having him in the Intercontinental title scene for WrestleMania, as judging by Raw, the plan is for Bron Breakker versus Penta. Even before Balor's title match, Penta had declared his intent to challenge for the title, and in late January, a match between the two was teased in a backstage segment. This shows that WWE has had plans for a Penta Breakker title match in the cards for some time, and that could play out at WrestleMania 41. That would certainly explain Finn's loss this week, as having the title change in Brussels would have only disrupted whatever plans WWE has in mind for Bronn and Penta. Who would you like to see challenge Breakker at WrestleMania, and who should leave Las Vegas as WWE Intercontinental Champion? Let us know down in the comments. The first match on Raw saw Ludwig Kaiser take on Penta in a no-holds-barred contest, and heading into the bout, the two had traded victories on TV. Penta won their first singles encounter while Kaiser claimed victory in a previous triple threat match, and this was a competitive encounter from the very start. With that said, the no-holds-barred stipulation wasn't fully utilized, as aside from a few chair spots, there wasn't much hardcore action. In the end, Penta secured a decisive victory, finishing Kaiser with a diving destroyer onto a steel chair in one of the few spots to include a weapon. On WWE TV, Ludwig Kaiser is a dastardly heel, but right now it appears that the promotion is testing the waters for a babyface run, at least at live events. At recent events in Hanover and Dortmund, Kaiser worked as a face and scored victories over Austin Theory and Grayson Waller on back-to-back nights. It's worth noting that both shows took place in Kaiser's native Germany, so it's hardly a surprise that he got a warmer welcome there than back in the US. Fightful Select reports that this change is only on non-televised events for now, but added that specific crowd reactions could adjust that week to week overseas. In layman's terms, if WWE fans continue to back Kaiser like they did in Germany, it may lead to WWE rethinking Ludwig's role on programming. For now, though, Kaiser remains a heel as seen in his battles with the popular Penta, but these live events could be the start of a major change for the former NXT Tag Team Champion. Io Sky and Bianca Belair met in the ring on Raw for a WrestleMania 41 contract signing, but the proceedings were quickly interrupted by former champion Rhea Ripley. Ripley staked her claim for a rematch, arguing that if not for Belair's interference, she would have been the champion heading into WrestleMania, not Sky. As the tension escalated, Sky attempted to get between the two while general manager Adam Pearce looked on, failing to defuse the situation between Mommy and the EST. Once again, the Women's World Champ was disrespected as Sky found herself on the receiving end of a pie face from Belair, who turned straight into a headbutt from Ripley. This set Belair sprawling onto the table, and Ripley delivered a powerbomb to Sky, slamming her onto Belair and the table, which did not break. Sky bounced off Belair instead, and with both the champion and challenger down, Ripley picked up the match contract, which had been signed by Sky and Belair, and added her own signature. There was an awkward moment after this spot as officials tried to separate Belair and Sky, and it appears that Sky's hair was caught in Bianca's attire. Ripley left with the contract and Adam Pearce in pursuit, and later in the show, the pair were seen arguing backstage over the contract, and Pearce accused Ripley of acting like a child. Ripley insisted that signing it meant she was entitled to be in the match, and though she finally gave the contract up, she made a final demand to be added to the WrestleMania match. Before she could cool down, though, Belair attacked Ripley, kicking off another chaotic brawl that Sky would join as she pulled Belair off of Rhea to get some shots of her own in. Sky and Belair then fought, allowing Ripley to gain the upper hand as the segment came to a close, with Rhea remaining adamant that she should be in the title match at WrestleMania. There is something funny to Ripley's reasoning that just because she signed the paperwork, that means she has to be added to the title match, a strategy more wrestlers should use if it works. To be fair, this isn't the first time we've seen this trope, as Shawn Michaels entered himself into the World Heavyweight title match at WrestleMania 20 in a similar manner. That match would become a triple threat match, and if history is any indicator, a triple threat could be what we see next month between these three women. Are you wanting to see a triple threat match, or should Belair and Sky have a one-on-one showdown? Let us know down in the comments. Jey Uso and Gunther had a backstage confrontation on Raw before Jey defeated Austin Theory in a matter of seconds in the ring. There was a worrying spot after the match when Jey dove onto A-Town Down Under, and the Royal Rumble winner clattered onto the hardest part of the ring. Jey got back up quickly after and played it off before Gunther ambushed him, but on this occasion, Jey fought off the Austrian and stood tall in the ring with the World Heavyweight title. Later on, A-Town Down Under issued a challenge for a tag match, pitting themselves against Jay and a mystery opponent for next week's Raw in Scotland. One option is, of course, Jimmy Uso, who brought up his brother's storyline during last week's SmackDown, but another option could be Scotland's own Joe Hendry. Shortly after the segment, Hendry took to Twitter to share a gif of himself and the caption, "Say his name and he appears," teasing that he'll have a role to play in Glasgow. This tweet caught the attention of Grayson Waller, who shared a gif to show he was dying from cringe, and Hendry will be in Glasgow next week as he is set to host a concert after Raw. Could the TNA World Champion be Jay's partner? Is this something you'd like to see? Let us know your thoughts down below. While fans would have predicted Jay to win, seeing Theory be squashed in 10 seconds was a surprise, but this loss may be the start of big things. Over the past few months, WWE has planted the seeds of a potential Theory-Waller feud, and this loss may lead to Waller ditching who he may see as the team's weak link. It was at last year's WrestleMania that A-Town Down Under won the SmackDown Tag Team titles, but a split could see the pair walk into this year's event as opponents instead. Seth Rollins was serenaded by the fans before getting down to business as he cut a promo on CM Punk and Roman Reigns. Rollins discussed last week's steel cage match, a match that he did win, but because Roman pulled him out of the ring to attack him, payback for Seth's attack at the Royal Rumble. Rollins couldn't be too mad at Reigns, as if the roles were reversed, he would have wanted revenge as well, but said that Reigns still can't come up with a plan. Taking aim at Punk, Rollins badmouthed the luckiest loser and said he would have beaten Punk cleanly if not for the interference of Reigns. With Reigns and Punk already confirmed for SmackDown, Rollins shared that he'll be at the event as well, setting the stage for an explosive confrontation this Friday. What transpired last week between these three was perhaps the biggest talking point of last week's Raw, which is why it's a shame that it feels the angle wasn't properly followed up on. Having just one of the three names involved, and arguably the name fans are least interested in seeing, appearing on Raw, felt like a major misfire, though for the OTC, this is business as usual. Reigns shows up once or twice before vanishing for months, and while Punk works more than Roman, having Rollins do the heavy lifting this week felt a tad unfair. Perhaps WWE felt that with Cena and Rhodes, they didn't need the likes of Reigns and Punk, and hopefully fans get something more this Friday in Bologna, Italy. Karrion Kross, interestingly wearing a puppeteer shirt, spoke with AJ Styles backstage and tried to get in the head of the Phenomenal One. Kross said AJ had to wait 16 years to make it to WWE, and Styles corrected him, saying it was 17 years to make it to the promotion. Kross highlighted Logan Paul's much different journey to WWE and said that Styles should consider respecting the Maverick, once again playing the devil's advocate. The Creed brothers faced Rey Mysterio and Dragon Lee in tag team action, but Chad Gable was nowhere to be seen at the start of the match. Mysterio and Lee got in a few offensive moves before Julius took control as the show went to a break, but returning from ads, the match came to an end rather quickly. Lee and Mysterio secured the victory, but Grande Americano, the mysterious American-made themed luchador, appeared post-match and attacked them. While the match itself was fine, it was too short to be truly memorable, despite the talent of all four men who were competing. WWE's storytelling in this feud is still developing. It could either lead to something great or completely miss the mark. Time will tell. Backstage, the LWO was furious about the American-made luchador who interfered last week, though Ivy Nile and the Creeds rejected the idea and it was Chad Gable. We certainly know it wasn't Brutus Creed who seemed completely clueless about who the masked man was last week in a hilarious development from the Creed brother. The Creed brothers were at ringside for Ivy Nile's match against Dakota Kai, and Nile was surprised when Chad Gable arrived late to the scene. Kai briefly controlled the match until Nile hit a German suplex for a near fall, and Gable was able to provide a distraction long enough for Nile to hit a DDT. Kai kicked out of the pin attempt, and moments later, Rey Mysterio and Dragon Lee rushed out to attack American Made, chasing Gable through the crowd. The distracted Nile was met with a running kick, followed by the GTK for the pinfall victory in a short match with plenty of ringside interference, but the in-ring work was also solid. And that was this week's Raw, which ran just 2 hours and 22 minutes this week, the shortest episode since WWE adopted the 3-hour format, and the briefest of the Netflix era so far. While some fans appreciated the switch to 2 hours last year, it appears the bulk of the feedback was negative, with complaints about talent not having enough opportunities. As for next week's Raw, a must-watch show is being shaped for the OVO Hydro Arena in Glasgow, Scotland. The fans in Brussels certainly gave quite the live show this week, and next week's episode could be even more wild given that it'll be in front of a UK crowd. The Women's Intercontinental title will be on the line when Lyra Valkyria defends against Raquel Rodriguez in arguably the biggest title defense for the division so far. CM Punk will also be on the show, no doubt with plenty to say, especially after Seth Rollins buried him during his promo on Raw. Jey Uso and a mystery ally will face A-Town Down Under, and after battling both Grayson Waller and Austin Theory, this could be the finishing point of this rivalry. John Cena and Cody Rhodes will be under the same roof again next week, and after the magic they made this week, you never know what could go down in Glasgow. What's your take on the plan for next week's WWE Raw at this point? And what did you think of this week's Raw in Brussels? Let us know what you think in the comments section. At TNA Sacrifice, the Hardys were part of some huge matches, with Jeff challenging Moose for the X Division title in a ladder match, while Matt was in a 10-man tag team steel cage match. Unsurprisingly, these matches took a toll, and in an update from Gia Miller, it was confirmed that both men aren't cleared to wrestle at this time. Matt's dealing with a deviated septum, while Jeff is out with a lower body injury, and it remains to be seen what's to come for the tag team champions. And we're ending with Raw, as Corey Graves replaced Pat McAfee on commentary, and this means that Graves won't be a part of this week's NXT. While some may see Graves' absence from NXT as related to his issues with the brand from earlier this year, it's simple geography that'll keep Graves from this week's NXT. It remains to be seen if Graves replaces McAfee in the upcoming Raws in Glasgow and London, but fans may be hearing much more from Corey Graves on the main roster.